You swear you want the truth, yet the second it shows up, you start defending the version that hurts you less. The mind protects its story more fiercely than its facts. Picture a normal night. You're in the kitchen with the overhead light off, living on the warm yellow pool from the stove hood. The fridge motor clicks on with that low, tired hum. There's a ring of cold condensation on your glass that keeps slipping and leaving a damp crescent on the counter. Your phone is face down, but it still feels loud. A message comes in anyway. You flip it over. The screen wakes up and paints your knuckles blue. "Are you coming tomorrow?" it says. Or maybe it says, "We need to talk." Something short, something clean, something that leaves space for your brain to perform. And you already know what the truth is. You've known it for months, maybe for years. The relationship is shrinking. The job is eating you. The friend is using you. The habit is running you. The story you tell yourself is the only thing keeping the room warm. So you do what you've learned to do. You tighten the lie until it fits. Not the dramatic, cartoon lie. The respectable one. The lie with good posture. The lie that sounds like maturity. It's not that bad. I'm overreacting. They didn't mean it. This is normal. I'll deal with it later. Later is a very soft word. It has a pillow inside it. This is the embarrassing part to admit. Sometimes you don't avoid the truth because you can't handle pain. You avoid it because the truth would force you to rewrite your identity, and that is a different kind of loss. If you stop being the reliable one, the loyal one, the easygoing one, the high performer, the one who never makes a fuss, who are you when the applause stops? That discomfort has a name: cognitive dissonance. It's the inner friction that happens when your actions and your beliefs don't match, when your mouth says one thing and your life says another. And the brain, being the world's most talented lawyer, hates a contradiction it can't argue away. It wants the heat to drop. It wants the noise to stop. It wants your self-image to stay intact. So it edits. It trims facts. It adds context. It blurs edges. It takes the sharp truth and wraps it in something wearable. Think of it like a smoke alarm. A smoke alarm is not your enemy. It's loud because it's trying to keep you alive. But if it starts going off every time you sear a piece of bread, you begin to resent it. You wave a towel under it. You curse at it. Then, one day, you pull the battery out because silence feels like control. That's what self-deception is. Removing the battery so you can sleep in the same burning house. There's a famous experiment that shows how far the mind will go to protect a comfortable story. Two researchers, Leon Festinger and James Carlsmith, brought people into a room and gave them a task so dull it had the texture of waiting, moving small objects around, repeating it. Afterward, they asked some of the participants to do one more thing: tell the next person that the task was fun. A few were given $20 for saying it. A few were given $1. Now, here's the strange turn. When the researchers asked the participants later how the task actually felt, the ones who were paid $1 were more likely to say they enjoyed it. Why would someone believe their own lie more when they were paid less to tell it? Because the mind can tolerate a lie if it has a receipt. If you got $20, you can point to the money and think, I said it because I was paid. No conflict. No need to change how you feel. But if you got $1, that explanation doesn't cover the discomfort. $1 isn't enough to excuse selling your words. So the brain does what it does best. It repairs the crack by changing the story. Maybe it wasn't that boring. Maybe it was interesting. Maybe I liked it. Not because the person is stupid. Because the mind would rather bend reality than sit in the ache of contradiction. That experiment isn't trapped in a textbook. It's in your life. It's in the way you defend a decision that cost you something. The way you become aggressive when someone points out what you already suspect. The way you scroll past the uncomfortable sentence that would end an argument inside you. The way you call your exhaustion ambition, because ambition sounds clean. You don't want to feel like the kind of person who stayed too long, chose wrong, missed the red flags, needed too much, wanted too much, settled. So you upgrade the lie until it feels like a principle. And you can make it look impressive. You can build an entire aesthetic around it. A calendar full of commitments. A calm voice that says, "You're fine." A smile that lands at the right time. You can even turn it into advice for other people, which is the most elegant form of denial, because it makes your coping look like wisdom. Then you go home, and there's that moment when the performance ends. The shoes come off, the sink is full, the room is too still, and the truth is still there, waiting like an unpaid bill. The writer Anais Nin once suggested we see things as we are, not as they are. That line sounds poetic until you notice how practical it is. It means your brain isn't scanning for truth. It's scanning for threats to the self you're trying to preserve. So when you hear a fact that clashes with your identity, the discomfort isn't an intellectual problem. It's a body problem. Your throat tightens. Your stomach drops. Your jaw locks. You feel irritated at the person saying it, not because they're wrong, but because they're getting too close to the part of you that's been working overtime to keep the story sealed. Cognitive dissonance doesn't only protect you from shame, it protects you from grief, because the truth often comes with a funeral. If you admit your partner isn't changing, you have to mourn the future you kept rehearsing in your head. If you admit your career is hollowing you out, you have to mourn the person you thought you'd become. If you admit you've been chasing approval, you have to mourn the fantasy that one day it would feel like love. A comfortable lie is not only comfort, it's a promise. And promises are addictive. Here's the part that stings. The lie feels peaceful because it reduces conflict fast. The truth feels dangerous because it raises conflict first. It makes you confront the gap between what you present and what you live. That's why you can read something that hits you right in the ribs, nod along, even feel relief for a second, and then, 2 hours later, return to the same pattern with a fresh explanation, as if you never saw it. The mind protects its story more fiercely than its facts. So how do you stop being owned by that reflex? Not by forcing yourself into brutal confession every day. Not by trying to become a purity machine who never defends anything. By learning to recognize the moment your brain reaches for the blanket. That moment is usually small. It's a tiny spike of heat, a flash of annoyance. The sudden need to explain yourself to someone who didn't ask. The urge to rush past a sentence because it feels too much. When you catch that moment, you can give it a name without turning it into a performance. You can tell yourself one sentence, a sentence that keeps you on the side of reality. I can want comfort and still choose the truth. Say it when you feel yourself polishing the lie. Say it when you feel your chest tighten and your mind start building a courtroom. Say it when you hear yourself reaching for that soft word later. Because the goal isn't to live in pain. The goal is to stop paying rent to a story that's starving you. Truth is not a spotlight. It's a door. And opening it doesn't mean you have to burn the house down that night. It means you stop pretending the smoke isn't there. It means you put the battery back in and accept the noise for what it is, information. Near the end of your life, you won't regret having been confused. You'll regret the years you spent defending confusion as if it were wisdom. The mind can protect its story, but you can protect your life with facts. So here's the question. Where are you paying for comfort with your future? And what would change if you stopped calling it fine and started calling it what it is? Tonight, when the room goes quiet and the fridge clicks on again, listen for the alarm.